أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما نافعا. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Reflections on the Risale-i Nur by Bediuzzaman Said Nursi podcast series. You can listen to this series wherever you listen to your podcasts or at the website www.reflections-rn.org. In this episode, inshallah, we will continue reading the 10th word. The 10th word is about the verity, the reality, the existence of resurrection, the accounting, the hereafter. We began with a story in which two brothers, two friends find themselves in a paradise-like world. They are new to this place and they are trying to understand what is going on here. One of them sees order, wisdom, justice, the presence of somebody in charge in everything he witnesses. And then he also thinks that because there is somebody in charge, this somebody in charge will take the residents of this place to account with regard to how they use what is provided to them in this place. Because they see that people leave their doors open and there are abusers here. Everything is orderly, everything is perfect, everybody is doing their duties, everybody is fulfilling their responsibilities, but then there are a minority of abusers and they walk into houses, the doors of which they find open, and they steal things, they abuse others. So the wise one among these two friends thinks that the person who is in charge, if he is not taking care of this here, there must be a place in the future where he is going to take care of everything will be settled. The other one says, no, it is as is, I will just walk in and become an abuser too. And then the wise friend is now trying to convince the other one with evidences, with proofs that he is wrong. What is happening here actually points to the existence of a hereafter, another world that is to come after what is being witnessed here. And the wise friend is providing proofs to the other one to show that this is the case. We read the first two proofs. We read the first two ways in order to two ways of proving the existence of a hereafter. Inshallah, today we will continue with the third one. Üçüncü suret, the third proof or the third way to prove the existence of a hereafter. Bak ne kadar âli bir hikmet, bir intizamla işler dönüyor. Look how things are being taken care of with such a high level of wisdom and orderliness. The words that are being used here are hikmet and intizam. Hikmet is, wisdom is a good translation, but if we think it more deeply, if we try to analyze what it really means, it means purposefulness. This friend is saying, look around. Everything is serving a purpose, that there is nothing that is futile. The sun is sending its rays to the earth. Those rays are turning into heat and light in the atmosphere and the surface of the face of the earth. And then that light and heat is serving the purpose of bringing about life on earth. The plants are consuming it. The animals are benefiting from it in the sea, on the land. The sea is providing transportation for people. The fish live in the water and they are given organs that enable them to literally suck out oxygen from water. The land animals and human beings are given organs that enable them to absorb oxygen from the atmosphere. The plants are given roots, and then when you observe, everything is serving a purpose. There is purposefulness. There is nothing that is futile. Even the things that might seem insignificant, purposeless to us, as science advances, as our understanding of the creation progresses, we see that there is a wisdom in this too. And then we are surprised. Every day we are surprised, especially for those who follow the advancements in science and medicine, biology. So there is purposefulness. Everything is done to serve a purpose. This is what this friend is observing around. And there is orderliness. Everything remains within their bounds. We talked a lot about this in the previous two proofs too. There is wisdom, purposefulness, and there is orderliness. This is what we observe around. And when we read these proofs, we should keep in mind that we are first looking around the world that we live in, this paradise-like place that the two friends found themselves in, and we found ourselves in the world that we live in, the universe. We are looking around and we are observing this purposefulness, justice, orderliness, harmony, mercifulness. All of these proofs that have come and that are to come, we observe them around, and then we see exceptions to them. Remember the abusers in this story? We see exceptions to them. And we know that these are exceptions. But then we also think the person, the one who is in charge here, has so much power, so much wisdom, so much of all of these qualities, order, power, mercy, compassion, justice, and everything else that is to come. We don't expect him to let this go. But it appears to be let go here in this world that we live. Then we say, okay, this is not what we expect from him, and that's certain knowledge that we deduce from observing our universe. We don't expect this from him. If we expected this from him, that would be an insult on him. That would be offending him. This is not acceptable. The intellect does not take this, does not accept this. Then we say, okay, then there must be another world. There must be another place where he is taking care of this, where he is settling things, where he is establishing justice. So we look at the rule and we look at the exception, and from the exception we deduce that there must be another place where the rule is going to continue be the norm, going to continue to be established. Bak ne kadar âli bir hikmet, bir intizamla işler dönüyor. Look how all affairs are being taken care of with such a high level of wisdom and orderliness. Hem ne kadar hakiki bir adalet, bir mizanla muameleler görülüyor. And also look how the transactions are being affected with such a true, real justice and balance. Halbuki hikmet-i hükümet ise saltanatın cenahı himayesine iltica eden mültecilerin taltifini ister. Now, this being said, wisdom of government requires that those who take refuge in the protection of the sultana, the royal power, will be rewarded, will be given favors. Now, there's a key word here, wisdom of government. This is usually used for worldly governments, and of course we are doing comparisons here. We are deducing information from what we observe in the real world, in the world that we live in, about a higher level of reality. Wisdom of government. Government requires certain purposes to be established. Government requires behavior in certain ways, because if that is not preserved, the rule will be ruined. In real life governments, people will rebel. They will not recognize the authority of the government. In the previous episodes, we saw that there is a perfect royal power that is in charge here. And this perfect royal power is governing. In charge means it is governing. And therefore, it will have wisdom, because we already said there is tremendous amount of wisdom in everything, purposefulness. It's not going to do something that is going to contradict its purposes. So this wisdom that government requires that those who take refuge in the royal power will be rewarded. They will be given favors. They will be taken care of. Adalet ise raiyetin hukukunun muhafazasını ister. ta hükümetin haysiyeti, saltanatın haşmeti muhafaza edilsin. Justice, on the other hand, requires the preservation of the rights of the subjects so that the honor of the government, the majesty of the royal power will be preserved. Halbuki şu yerlerde o hikmete, o adalete layık binden biri icra edilmiyor. Then we turn around and we see, again, we are looking at the exceptions too. We look around and we see that not even 1 out of 1,000 of what we would see is befitting of that wisdom and justice we just observed is being executed here. We look around, we see justice being executed, we see wisdom being executed, but when we focus on those abusers, we think, no, this is not what we expect. We are not seeing here not even 1 in 1,000th of what we expect. And the abusers, again, is going to be human beings and the jinn, those who have partial will. Everything otherwise is subject to this wisdom, this royal power, this mercy, this orderliness, and so on and so forth. But for reasons, again, this is not against the wisdom. For even higher purposes, wisdoms, humans and jinn are given partial will. So they do things that they are not commanded to do, and they do things that they are commanded not to do. They do things that contradict the wisdom that is out there. And then we say, okay, this is not what we expected from this power, but we look around and we cannot doubt this power either, because it is real, it is everywhere, it is so glaring that we cannot turn our back to it, we cannot deny it. It is there, but this is not what we expect from it. Then we say there must be an aspect of what is going on here that we do not see. There must be something else happening behind this wall, behind this veil of the unseen that we do not witness, but we can deduce from everything else that it does exist, it is there. Senin gibi sersemler çoğu ceza görmeden buradan göçüp gidiyorlar. Empty-headed people like you, and of course here the two friends are speaking with each other, or we are speaking to our compulsive soul and the Satan. Empty-headed people like you, who deny the existence of a hereafter, that justice will be established, etc., are leaving this place, moving on from this place without being punished. Demek bir mahkeme-i kübraya bırakılıyor. In that case, this is being left to a greater, to a supreme tribunal, to a supreme court. 4. suret, the fourth proof, the fourth way to prove the existence, verity of a hereafter. Bak, hatta hesaba gelmeyen şu sergilerde olan misilsiz mücevherat, şu sofralarda olan emsalsiz mat'umat gösteriyorlar ki bu yerlerin padişahının hadsiz bir sehaveti, hesapsız dolu hazineleri vardır. Look, there are innumerable, peerless displays all around here. And in these displays, we see being exposed, being displayed peerless gems. And we see innumerable tables spread. And on these tables, again, we see peerless, unmatched, unparalleled dishes, food, meals, different kinds of delicious food spread out in banquets all over the place. Everywhere we see displays and banquets, and they are filled with beautiful, peerless gems, gems that make your jaw fall. Food, delicious, that make you want to eat more. And these all show something. What do they show? Bu yerlerin padişahının hadsiz bir sehaveti, hesapsız dolu hazineleri vardır. These all show that the sultan of these places, the king, master of these places, has a boundless generosity and has uncountable treasures full of gems and wealth, that the amount of which we cannot even count or imagine. Halbuki böyle bir sehavet ve tükenmez hazineler daimi ve istenilen her şey içinde bulunan bir dar-ı ziyafet ister. Now that being said, a generosity like this and the existence of infinite treasures like this require the presence of a banquet place, requires the presence of a continual, unending place of feast that is going to contain, that's going to be able to take everything that this master, that this king, sultan is able to offer. Hem ister ki o ziyafetten telezzüz edenler orada devam etsinler. Moreover, it also requires, because there is generosity, and the generosity is infinite. If the generosity is not ending, unending generosity, right? If the generosity is not ending, the place of providing, the place of bestowing what that generosity bestows needs to continue too. And those who are benefiting from it also need to continue. Hem ister ki o ziyafetten telezzüz edenler orada devam etsinler. It also entails, requires that those who taste and enjoy that feast should also continue there, continue to be there. Ta zeval ve firak ile elem çekmesinler, so that they are not pained with the ending and separation of these pleasures. Çünkü zevali elem lezzet olduğu gibi zevali lezzet dahi elemdir. Because as the ending of cessation of pain is pleasure, the cessation of pleasure is pain. This is again one of those beautiful sentences that we can see in the Risale-i Nur, that you can write beautifully on a piece of paper and hang on the wall. Because as the cessation of pain is pleasure, the cessation of pleasure is pain. And in every pleasure that we enjoy in this world and that may lead us to exceed the bounds, we should remember this. It is going to end, and it is going to leave behind a pain, and there is a pain in it because it is going to end, and that should lead us to thinking about a place where it is not going to end. Bu sergilere bak ve şu ilanlara dikkat et. Look at these displays. Pay attention to these announcements. Ve bu dellallara kulak ver ki muciz nüma bir padişahın antika sanatlarını teşkil ve teşhir ediyorlar. And give your ear, listen to these announcers that they are describing and displaying, showing the antique arts of a miraculous, miracle working king, sultan. Kemalatını gösteriyorlar. They are showing his perfections. Misilsiz cemali manevisini beyan ediyorlar. They are declaring his unmatched metaphysical beauty, the unmatched beauty that is in the meanings that we can deduce from all of these things. Hüsnü mahfisinin letaifinden bahsediyorlar. Hüsnü mahfisinin letaifinden bahsediyorlar. They are talking about the subtleties of his hidden beauty. Demek onun pek mühim, hayret verici kemalat ve cemali manevisi vardır. In that case, he has very significant, awe-inspiring, wondrous perfections and metaphysical beauties. So we are emphasizing the word metaphysical here because we are talking about God, and we need not to confuse that with the kind of beauty that we see around, like when we look at the butterfly or the flower or the firmament on a clear night or the surface of the ocean when the sun is setting or rising. These are all beauties, and they are beautiful, but they are physical beauties, and they are mere manifestations of a tiny bit of a reflection of God's beauty. They are manifestations. They are something that reflects on a mirror. They give us an idea about the beauty of God, but they are not measures that we can use in order to measure God's beauty. God's beauty is something different from this. It is in a different dimension that we cannot perceive with our limited minds. But we can have a sense of it. We can fill our hearts with a sense of it by contemplating on the physical beauty that we see around. And this is the case for all contemplation that leads us to God. We contemplate the creation, we see qualities in the works, in the works of God. We take them as signs that lead us to God, but then we also acknowledge that whatever we think God to be. God is beyond that. This is all an approximation that is going to help us purify our hearts, fill our hearts with love of God and respect for Him and fear of Him and awe of Him and so on and so forth. But that is not going to give us definitive answers to what God is. We will not say this is God. We are not going to assume that we understood the quiddity of God. No, we do not do that. God is far beyond that, and we need to preserve far more respect before God than assuming that, may God protect us from that, assuming that we understood His infinite beauty. His beauty is infinite, of a different kind. Therefore we are saying metaphysical beauty here. Demek onun pek mühim, hayret verici kemalat ve cemali manevisi vardır. In that case, He has many very significant, awe-inspiring, wondrous perfections and metaphysical beauties. Gizli, kusursuz kemal ise takdir edici, istihsan edici, maşallah deyip müşahede edicilerin başlarında teşhir ister. So that hidden and perfect, without any defects, defectless, peckless, perfection requires that it is displayed to those who are going to observe it and then acknowledge its beauty and say, MashaAllah, what is it that God has created? MashaAllah. This is an expression of appreciation. Those who will appreciate, those who will acknowledge the beauty in it, and then they will say, MashaAllah, oh, what is it? What a thing that God has created here with an exclamation mark. So this kind of hidden, peckless, perfect perfection requires those who are going to observe it, observers, and it entails that it is going to be displayed to those who can observe and appreciate it. So not to everybody. It is hidden. It is not going to be shown to those who cannot appreciate it. It is far too precious, far too beautiful, far too sublime to be shown to everybody. But there are those who can appreciate it, acknowledge its beauty. And this kind of hidden perfection requires that it be displayed to those who can appreciate it. Mahfi, nazirsiz cemal ise görünmek ve görmek ister. And then veiled and unmatched beauty requires or entails or wants. The word that Said Nursi uses here literally is want, but we can translate it as entails. Hidden, veiled, unmatched beauty entails to be seen and to see. What does this mean? We probably talked about this in some of the earlier episodes. We know this from ourselves. All of this, these are being built on a priori knowledge that we have in our intellects and that we observe in the creation that we look around. We know this from ourselves. Think of a 5-year-old child who has drawn a beautiful picture. The moment he finishes it, he's going to want to show it to his parents or the people around him, and he will want to be appreciated. So these kinds of qualities that we find in our human nature are there to help us understand our Lord. They are a kind of standard, a kind of point of comparison for us to think about our Lord. We know that those who have such beauty want it to be seen, and they also want to see it. Yani kendi cemalini iki vecihle görmek. Biri muhtelif aynelerde bizzat müşahede etmek, diğeri müştak seyirci ve mütehayyir istihsan edicilerin müşahedesiyle müşahede etmek ister. That is, to see its beauty, its own beauty, in two ways. One is to observe it, to behold it in various mirrors, and the second is to behold it with the beholding of those who are in love with it and who are in awe of it and who know how to appreciate its beauty. Hem görmek, hem görünmek, hem daimi müşahede, hem ebedi işhad ister. It entails, it wants to see and also to be seen, and it wants continual beholding, and it also wants to be beheld continually. Hem o daimi cemal, müştak seyirci ve istihsan edicilerin devamı vücutlarını ister. In that case, that continual beauty requires the continuity of the existence of those spectators and appreciators to continue. And that continual beauty entails once requires the continuity of the existence of those spectators who are in love with it and who know how to appreciate it, who appreciate it. Çünkü daimi bir cemal, zail müştaka razı olamaz. Because a continual beauty will not agree to a temporal lover. It will not agree to a temporal ending admirer. Zira dönmemek üzere zevale mahkum olan bir seyirci, zevalin tasavvuruyla muhabbeti adavete döner, hayret ve hürmeti tahkire meyleder. This is important because a spectator who is doomed to being executed, whose existence will come to end, and he knows this. He knows that he is doomed to non-existence without any return. A spectator who is doomed to non-existence without any return will then start to imagine, think about that end, that ultimate and certain end, and because of this, his love will start to turn into enmity. His awe and respect will start to turn into contempt. Çünkü insan bilmediği ve yetişmediği şeye düşmandır. Because man is an enemy of what he does not know or what he cannot achieve. Halbuki şu misafirhanelerden herkes çabuk gidip kayboluyor. Now, that being said, everybody is passing through these guest houses quickly and disappearing. O kemal ve o cemalin bir ışığını, belki zayıf bir gölgesini bir anda bakıp doymadan gidiyor. They are looking for a moment and they are moving on, leaving without being satiated, without being able to be satiated with a ray of that beauty, a ray of that perfection, even a weak shadow of that beauty and perfection. They look, they get a glimpse of that beauty, that perfection. They get a glimpse of the rays of the shadows of that beauty and perfection, and then they move on without being satiated. Everybody who comes here moves on with a sense of something being deficient, insatiation. Everybody who comes here moves on with a sense of insatiation. And when we think of it, this is not what would become that generosity. This is not what would become that wealth, that beauty and perfection. That beauty and perfection, we said, entails the continuity of admiring spectators. And the spectators here are given a moment, as if they blink their eyes and they're gone. They see a little bit of it and they are filled with desire to see more and they move on. Demek bir seyrangâh-ı daimiye gidiliyor. In that case, it is necessary that they are moving on to a place of observation, place of beholding that is continual, that is eternal, where they will be able to behold and contemplate this for good, forever. Beşinci suret, the fifth proof, the fifth way in which this friend is proving the existence of a hereafter to his other friend. Bak, bu işler içinde görünüyor ki o misilsiz zatın pek büyük bir şefkati vardır. Look, in all these affairs it is visible, we can see that matchless, peerless being, person, has great compassion. Again, we are looking at the rule, we are looking at the norm around in the universe. And there are exceptions to it. We know that those exceptions are going to be related to the partial will of humans and the jinn. But otherwise, if the partial will of the humans and the jinn do not intervene, everything is in a state of perfection. And in that state of perfection, we also observe that there is perfect compassion. Everything is being provided with their needs. Çünkü her musibetzedenin imdadına koşturuyor. Because this person that we know is in charge is running to assist all those who find themselves in states of calamity. Every victim of misfortune is being helped. Her suale ve matluba cevap veriyor. He is responding to every question, every demand. Hatta bak, en edna bir hacet, en edna bir raiyetten görse şefkatle kaza ediyor. Look, even when he sees a most simple, most lowly need from a most lowly subject of his, he is taking care of it in a state of compassion, with compassion. Bir çobanın bir koyunu bir ayağı incinse ya merhem ya baytar gönderiyor. If the foot of the sheep of a shepherd is wounded, he is either sending a salve or a veterinary. He's sending somebody to take care of it. Gel gidelim, şu adada büyük bir içtima var. Come, let's go. There's a great gathering on this island. Bütün memleket eşrafı orada toplanmışlar. The forecoming people, the notable people of the entire country have gathered there. Bak, büyük bir nişanı taşıyan bir yaveri ekrem bir nutuk okuyor. Look, a most noble aide-de-camp bearing exalted decorations is reading an oration, giving an oration over there on that island. O şefkatli padişahından bir şeyler istiyor. He is asking for things from that compassionate sultan. Look, what is he asking for? He is asking for things from that compassionate sultan. Bütün ahali, evet, biz de istiyoruz diyorlar. And the entire population, all those who are present, are also saying, yes, we too desire the same, we too demand the same, we too ask for the same. Onu tasdik ve teyit ediyorlar. They affirm him and they assent to his words. Şimdi dinle, bu padişahın sevgilisi diyor ki, now listen, the beloved of the sultan is saying. Now this aide-de-camp is beloved to this sultan. The sultan allowed him to be the person to give this oration among all the notables of the population that are here. He is chosen. We know that he is chosen because he is standing there on top of all the notables, the best, the cream of the crop of the people who reside in this land. He is chosen among them and he is given this oration. And he is saying something. What is he saying? What is he asking for? Ey bizi nimetleriyle perverde eden sultanımız, O our sultan, who has surrounded us with all of his blessings, bize gösterdiğin numunelerin ve gölgelerin asıllarını, menbaalarını göster. Show us the origins, sources and realities of the blessings, the demonstrations, the examples, the shadows that you have shown us here. Now think of a fair where all kinds of producers go in order to demonstrate their products. Usually what will happen is they will not be able to take everything that they produce to this display, this fair, because they will have a limited amount of space there and limited amount of attention from people too. They will take demonstrations, demos, examples of what they produce. Sometimes they will take catalogs, and then you go there and you look in the catalog and sometimes you like it. Wow, let's say it's an outfit. I like this outfit, but it is a picture. It's printed on a page in a book. It is a picture. You cannot take it and put on yourself. But you know that they are able to produce this, and if you order it, they are able to give it to you. So you fill out an order form, and it comes to you, or you go get it, you take it. So the representation, the example that is being given to us here is that the world is like that place of demos. The world is like a fair where everything is shown to us in the form of their catalog form. What we see here is not the reality of what is out there. What we see here is not the origin, the source of what is out there. The source, the reality, the origin is much more beautiful, and this beloved aide-de-camp, who is elected among all other residents of the place, is turning to the king and asking him, "O Lord, O Master, O King, O my Sultan, O our Sultan, show us the realities, the origins, the sources of the shadows, images, and demos, examples that you have blessed us with witnessing in this world. Ve bizi makarr saltanatına celbet, and call us, take us to where your sovereignty is stabilized, to the place of the stabilization of your sovereignty, a place where things are not just demos, but things exist in their reality, in their sources. Bizi bu çöllerde mahvettirme. Do not destroy us in these deserts, in these arid, barren plains. Bizi huzuruna al. Take us to your presence. Bize merhamet et. Have mercy on us. Burada bize tattırdığın leziz nimetlerini orada yedir. Let us eat the tasty, delicious blessings that you have allowed us to taste here, over there. Let us eat them over there. Here we are only tasting them. We are not satiated. We are not eating. There is nothing that we are actually eating here. We are only tasting. We are taking a bite, and then we are moving on. Let us come over there and let us eat those blessings, your blessings, in their reality. Bizi zeval ve teb'id ile tazip etme, or before that, we tasted it, and the taste is on our palate. We enjoyed it, and we want its continuity. We now desire it. We now desire it. Please take us there and give us the permanent thing. Let us actually eat it. Bizi zeval ve teb'id ile tazip etme. Don't pain us, don't torture us with cessation and being distant from you, being sent away from you. Sana müştak ve müteşekkir şu muti raiyetini başıboş bırakıp idam etme. Do not leave your obedient subjects, these obedient subjects of yours, these admiring, grateful, obedient subjects of yours. Do not leave them alone, and do not send them into non-existence. He says this aide-de-camp says these, and he keeps begging, beseeching. Sen de işitiyorsun, and you hear it too. Acaba bu kadar şefkatli ve kudretli bir padişah hiç mümkün müdür ki en edna bir adamın en edna bir meramını ehemmiyetle yerine getirsin, en sevgili bir yaver ekreminin en güzel bir maksudunu yerine getirmesin? Now think of it. Is it at all possible that a sultan who is so compassionate and also so powerful will take care of the needs of the loveliest man, the loveliest needs of lowliest demands of the lowliest man among his subjects, as if it is something very important, with great care and attention? He's going to do that, and then is it at all possible that he will not fulfill the demands, desires, aspirations of his most beloved aide-de-camp, the most beautiful desires, aspirations of his most beloved aide-de-camp? Is it at all possible that he is capable of taking care of everything? He has the power, he has the generosity, he has the compassion, and he takes care of the needs of the lowliest among his subjects, and then we will look and see that his most beloved is asking for these beautiful things, and he will not answer that. He will not give that to him. Is it at all possible? The intellect will not take this. Halbuki o sevgilinin maksudu umudun da maksududur. And moreover, the aspirations, the desires of that beloved is the desire of everybody else, of the overall population. Hem padişahın marzisi hem merhamet ve adaletinin muktezasıdır. Moreover, it is what this sultan is also pleased with, and it is also a requirement or natural consequence of his mercy and justice. Hem ona rahattır, ağır değil. Moreover, it is easy for him. It is not difficult for him. It's not a heavy burden for him. Bu misafirhanelerdeki muvakkat nüshetgahlar kadar ağır gelmez. Creating that place, that eternal abode, is not even as difficult as creating these temporary places of display. The places of display and enjoyment that we see around here, his power is infinite. There is nothing that is difficult to him. Anything in comparison to infinity is zero. However, from our point of view, if we were to observe any difficulty, or not difficulty, but any burden in the creation of what we are observing, what we observe here is even more difficult than what we will inshallah observe there, because here there is a veil. So it is being created, but it is being created in veils. It is being created in chains of causality. Something causes something else, and that thing causes something else, and that thing causes something else, and everything is intricately connected to one another. Whereas in the Maqar Sultanat, in where his sovereignty we will see his sovereignty stabilized, this will not be the case. There we will not need causality for the creation of what he displays. Everything will be created directly through his power. That is the case here too. But in addition to everything that is created directly with his power, we also see the causes being created as veils before his power, and that has its own wisdom. This is a place of trial and error. There are other wisdoms in it too. So here, one, things are created, and two, veils are created to veil their direct connection to divine power. Whereas in the eternal abode, there will be only things that are being created directly through his power. There will be no veil. The veil will be lifted. So, if anything, there is more to be created here than over there in terms of what relates to the creation of each thing. There it's going to be eternal. There it's going to be a lot more in terms of quantity, in terms of time, and therefore even the wing of a fly's worth of something that moves into eternity is more valuable or more weighty than what is in this world. It is because it is temporary. Because if you think of it, the fly's wing, the wing of a fly, continuous, let's say billions and billions and billions of years. And if you were to think of this mechanically, and let's say we weigh the wing at every second, and then we weigh the universe at every second, at some point, because this is going to, the fly's wing is going into eternity, whereas the universe that we observe has a definite lifespan. At some point, the weight of the fly's wing will become equal to the amount of weight that we get from the weight of the universe that we keep weighing. And from there on, the fly's wing will amount to more weight than the universe, all of the universe itself. So in terms of quantity, in terms of time, it is more over there. But in terms of the intricacy that's involved in the creation, it entails more here. Again, in comparison to God's power, they are all the same. He has no difficulty in any of this. This is from our point of view. When we talk about difficulty here, we are referring to intricacy. We are referring to what we perceive as difficulty or intricacy, or requiring more in the creation. Not more effort, but more of what is being created. So it is easy for him. The creation of that eternal abode is easy for him. It is not even as difficult, or it's not as even as intricate as the creation of the display places that we see around in this world. Madem numunelerini göstermek için 5-6 gün seyrangahlara bu kadar masraf ediyor, bu memleketi kurdu. Elbette hakiki hazinelerini, kemalatını, hünerlerini makar-ı saltanatında öyle bir tarzda gösterecek, öyle seyrangahlar açacak ki akılları hayrette bırakacak. So, if we are observing that he has set up places of enjoyment, fairs, displays, for 5 to 6 days of existence, during which he shows he demonstrates the examples of his blessings, and he spends so much in order to do this. And look around the universe, how much material is used for it. And he establishes this land for this purpose, for this like 5-6 days of demonstrating the examples of his what his treasures. If he spends so much on the creation of this place, of course, he is going to open such places of enjoyment, such displays where his sovereignty stabilizes, that he is going to show his real treasures, his perfection, his skills, his capacities over there in such a way that our minds will be in a state of awe. And we will say over there, right, the people of the paradise will say, Subhanallah, 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 Alhamdulillah, wa akhir da'wahum alhamdulillah. And their last call will be Alhamdulillah. Praise and gratitude will be to God. They will be between Subhanallah and Alhamdulillah. Subhanallah, glory be to God, and Alhamdulillah, praise and gratitude is to God. And this is what the intellect entails. We are looking around. This is a place of demonstration. This is not the eternal abode. This is just a fair that is set up for us to see things, to enjoy, to appreciate the examples of what is actually out there in his treasuries. And then, of course, there will be a place where he is going to display all of his treasuries, the real things, not the examples, to those, not to everybody, to those who know how to appreciate it. And so in a sense, this is also a very good, very beautiful explanation of the reality of the world that we live in. It is a place of demonstration. And this is a beautiful example, beautiful representation that I think we should repeat and internalize. We look around, the world is beautiful. We look around, the world is created in a way that shows compassion. How and why? I might have given this example before too. If you prepare a beautiful dish for a small child, something that this child enjoys, let's say a pancake. You put the pancake on the plate, you cut some fruits and ornament it around. Maybe you put some maple syrup, maybe you put some chocolate syrup, maybe you make a smiley face, or maybe you make the picture of a heart or a flower on the pancake. And then you put this in front of the child, and the child will feel appreciated, loved, and will recognize that the person who prepared this for him has compassion for him. Because you could have just put a plain piece of bread in front of the child, and in terms of nutrition, it is not too different from the pancake. It is, flour and water and maybe sugar and etc. involved in this. But the basic thing is, let's say this is made from wheat. The basic thing is wheat flour. And from wheat flour, you can make bread, or you can make this pancake and then ornament it. You could have put the bread in front of the child, but no, you put the beautiful pancake that's ornamented, that is made to taste better, that is made to look better, that's made to warm up his heart. The child will understand that he is being appreciated, he's being loved, and the person who prepared this for him has compassion for him. And that is the same thing. When we look around this world, we see that it is beautified for us. And then we see that, we know that the person, whoever prepared this for us, has compassion for us. He has provided everything that we need. We need oxygen. There is oxygen in the atmosphere. It is free and everywhere, and it is in such a precise quantity that it is exactly what we need. We need stability. The earth is made to be stable. The mountains are created as weights that keep the plain lands in place, and the earth rotates around itself, therefore leading to this gravity, and therefore we are stable on the ground, on earth. The earth is moving with dazzling speed, The earth is moving, like rotating around itself, rotating around the sun. The solar system is itself moving in the Milky Way galaxy. The galaxy is moving in space. And when you consider all of these motions, it is a tremendous amount of motion that we are being subjected to at any given moment. But within that, we need stability, and we are given stability. We need nutrition, we need food. The world is made in such a way that there is soil on it. Soil is neither water-like nor rock-like. If it were like water, we would sink into it and we would not be able to cultivate anything on it. If it were rock-like, it would be so hard that we would not be able to cultivate anything on it again. No, it is made from pieces of rock and organic matter that allows us to dig and cultivate, and from that we can grow our food. We need company. We are created among other people. We are given parents, we are given friends, we are given relatives, we are given nations, we are given a language that allows us to communicate with people. We are given all sorts of things that we need, that are necessary because of our creation. We are created in this way, and everything else is created around us to meet our needs. And this shows that there is compassion. There is someone who is compassionate, who loves us, who has mercy on us, who has compassion for us. So this is the world. This is the state of the world. But then we also look and see that all of these needs that we feel so deeply are not being satiated. We need company. We need the company of our beloved ones, but they all move on. They all pass away. Either we pass away or they pass away. We love delicious food, but after a point in our lives, we are not able to eat it. Or even every meal, we love delicious food, but our stomach has a certain capacity and we cannot eat more from it. We cannot appreciate it more than what our stomach can take. Then we say, the one who is so compassionate, who has created all of these for us, and who meets all of our needs, is he not going to meet our most essential need among all other needs, which is eternity? Eternity is our most essential need. The continuity of the blessings that we enjoy in this world is the most essential need for us, because again, as we said before, as the cessation of pain is pleasure, the cessation of pleasure is pain. And he will not subject us to that. We are pleased with all of this. We enjoy them. We get pleasure from them. But as we get pleasure from them, we think that this is going to come to an end. This is going to come to an end. And everything comes to an end. So it is not like we enjoy it for 70 years and at the end of 70 years it comes to an end. Therefore, if we are heedless, if we can forget that very end at the end of the 70 years, perhaps we can enjoy it for 70 years. No, not even that. Everything is coming to an end constantly. Again, we sit at the table to enjoy delicious food, but there is such a certain amount that our stomachs can take. They tell the story of this man in the old times in the Ottoman Empire, especially in Istanbul. The pashas, the notables of the city, would give feasts for iftar, for the fast breaking during Ramadan at the end of the day at sunset. And there was this person who was famous, who had acquired fame for his ability to eat, and he was such a connoisseur of food, and therefore he was invited to all different feasts. So he was invited to one of these feasts, and he keeps eating and eating and eating and eating, and then he overdoses. And then he cannot handle more. He moves to the corner and lies down, and people come and say, like, they think that he is going to die because of overeating, and they have some kind of medicine that would help with digestion. So they go to him and say, look, you don't look fine, just take a spoonful of this, it's going to help with your digestion. He, with difficulty, he opens his eyes and says, look, if I had a spoonful of place in my stomach, I would have eaten one more spoon of that ashure. Ashure is this sweet soup. I would have eaten one more spoon of that ashure, that sweet soup. So that's human nature. We want to enjoy more, but it comes to an end. Either the food finishes in front of us, or the space in our stomach finishes. So then we need to understand that this is a place to taste. We understand that this is a place to taste, not to be satiated. But we saw that there is compassion. He is compassionate. He loves us. He does not want to pain us. We know that. We understand it from the norm that we are observing around, and these are again the exceptions in the norm. Demek bu meydan-ı imtihanda olanlar başıboş değiller. Saadet sarayları ve zindanlar onları bekliyorlar. In that case, those who are in this place, circle of trial, are not left alone. Palaces of happiness or dungeons are waiting for them. They are not left alone. They are here for trial, and after the trial comes to an end, when they leave this large square that everybody has gathered, they will either go to palaces of happiness and bliss, or they will be sent to dungeons. May God make us among those who are sent to palaces of happiness and bliss. And may God protect us from those dungeons, because they are so painful. May God make us among those who can appreciate the examples, the demos, what is being demonstrated here. May God make us among those who show to our Lord that we have the ability to recognize the beauty and compassion and goodness and majesty and perfection in what He demonstrates to us. And may God make us among those who are filled with desire to see the permanent realities, origin, sources of those. And may that desire be a supplication for us before God, that He accepts and takes us to His palaces of bliss. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We read through the 5th proof, and inshallah we will continue with the 6th in our next episode. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.